Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're going to open up one of my favorite sets. This is 1990 Leaf. This is Series 2, the Frank Thomas series. If you've ever opened up Leaf, you do know that the collation is not always the greatest in the boxes, and I've opened up boxes and had about 5 or 6 packs that were complete identical, almost the same exact cards, hoping that we open up this, and if we do get that luxury, that they are all Frank Thomas packs. But there's only one way to find out. I do have my top loaders here handy, as well as my penny sleeves, hoping to use a lot of these in this box. But again, we never know what we're going to find. So we're going to go ahead and open up the box. Breaking up that Leaf Factory seal lets me know that this has not been tampered with. These packs are almost impossible to repack, if impossible. So we are going to open them up and find out what luck brings us tonight. I'm going to open up the top right quarter first here. And again, these are some really neat sealed packs. Probably the first foil pack outside of Upper Deck, but still sealed like the wax packs. It's very impossible to open these and reseal them. Although this is probably the pack that's opened up the easiest of all the packs I've ever opened up in Leaf. Now, neat little story, when I first opened up these packs, I went to a card show, $5 a pack back in 1990, the very first pack I opened up, and the only pack I opened up for a long time because of how expensive they were, was a Frank Thomas in it. This was back when the Frank Thomas cards were valued at about $60. Don't remember what happened to it, if I sold it, if it got lost, if somebody stole it from me. I have no idea what happened to it, but I do remember opening it up in one pack. And we start off this pack with Andy Hawkins, Ken Daly, Kevin Tapity, John Smiley, Rob Deere, Ken Howell, Mel Stottlemyre, Ron Darling looking serious as ever, Paul Gibson with his ever dorky looking face, Tom Foley, Joel Skinner, Oral Hershiser, Dan Pasqua, Glenn Wilson, and Jack Howell. Once we get in here, like I said, some of these are going to be duplicates. Probably not going to announce every player's name, just for time's sake. Yeah, but we're going to start off the second pack with Hal Morris. Mike Harkey, who I thought was going to be an amazing player, never panned out, as did a lot of players in this era. Dave Justice, one of the other best cards in the set here. We'll end up putting that in a top loader in a few moments here. Louis Soho, Jeff Hewson, Danny Jackson, Brian Holman, Don Robinson, Ron Hassey, Mike Pagliarulo, Matt Noakes, Milt Thompson, and Greg Gagne. So 2 packs in, already got one of the hot hit cards here, Dave Justice. At this point, not a great pull, but back in 1990 and a few years after that, it was a very solid pull. We got him in a top loader now. Like I said, usually these packs are very hard to open, do not open up perfectly, end up having to rip these. So this is kind of a unique box here. So it must have been very well climate controlled, sealed here. Back in 1990, this would have been a major hit as well. Kevin Moss, today not so much. Rex Hudler, Rick Reed, Terry Shumpert, Alejandro Pena, Edwin Nunez, Bud Black, Carlos Martinez, Alex Trevino, and Dave Winfield. Back in the day, this would have been a success already. But at this point right now, my main goal is looking for Frank Thomas. And again, we have Steve Wilson, Kevin Romine, Bob Milacki, the dreaded checklist, Mark Whitten, the immortal Charlie Huff, John Burkett, Rick Honeycutt, Joey Cora, Dion, again, this would have been a nice pull back in 1990, Bernard Gilkey, and Wally Backman. Continue on to the next pack. Mike McFarland, Tim Tuffle, Mike Morgan. I do not know where Frank Thomas falls in the collation, so I will be very shocked when I pull the first one. Hopefully we get at least one in here. Dante Bichette. Do not remember him being with the Angels. And Bob Melvin. Start off in this one, Ron Gant. Again, also would have been a big hit back in 1990. Jeff Brantley, Mike Jackson, Willie Randolph, Lee Guterman, Bryn Smith, David West, Charlie O'Brien, Darren Dalton, and John Franco. So far, not seeing a lot of the duplicates that I usually see in this set here. Usually by this time I've already opened up the 2 packs that are almost identical. Larry Anderson, Jack Armstrong, Jerry Reed, Joe Orsulak, Joe Baver, Pat Borders, Bobby Witt. And now I'm getting a couple packs of no big hits. Felix Jose, can't see his unibrow in this picture. Joe Carter, Willie McGee, Don Slaught, Dennis Cook, Willie Wilson, another dreaded checklist, Dave Magadan, Tony Phillips, Dave Martinez, and Mitch Webster. And our final pack in the first quarter. Jeff Hamilton, and we got Frank. First Frank of the night. So we do know it comes right after Jeff Hamilton. So first set of packs, first 9 packs, and we've already got pretty much every big hit in the set that I can remember. But finding a Frank Thomas, always awesome to pull these cards no matter how many times you pull them. We have Ken Obertfell, Chili Davis, Jose Rijo, Steve Finley, Greg Olson the catcher, Glenn Allen Hill, Kenny Rogers, Kevin Bass, Edgar Martinez, also a nice pull as well, Mike Moore, and Jack Clark. So there is the pack to get. All right, so now we go to our second set of packs. Looking for more Franks. Again, like I said, with these packs, you can get 5 or 6 packs that are almost identical, so it'd be really neat to pull 2 or 3 Franks out of this here. Doug Drabeck, B.J. Surhoff, Jim Eisenreich, one of my favorite players, Howard Johnson, Brian Dubois. Oh, there's another big hit from the 90s there, Larry Walker, another great player. Chris James, Cal Daniels, Joe Girardi, and Jim Presley to finish out that pack. We have Billy Ripken, Nolan Ryan, No Hit King. I love that card back in 1990. Pull that one to the side because Nolans are always worth pulling. Greg Myers, Joe Oliver, Tom Berdansky, Charlie Liebrant, and moving to the next pack, right along. Kevin Moss again, so we do have our second pack that's identical here. Not going to go through it all the way here because we know it's the same. Hoping to find another Frank Thomas or 2 in the next couple packs here. Don't expect to, but hoping to. Steve Wilson, Kevin Romine, Ernie Witt, Bob Malacky, Dreaded Checklist, Mark Whitten, Charlie Huff, Dion's. Again, starting to see some of the same cards. again. So again, same collation, a lot of duplicates. Larry Sheets, Mickey Hatcher, Don Paul, Larry Anderson, and more duplicates. Not the duplicates we want to see. One thing I always hated with these packs is with the duplicates, it made it very difficult to get complete sets out of here in one box. And I saw Jeff Hamilton, new Frank Thomas. So we've got at least 2 Franks in this box. This is the only time I like seeing duplicates, is when we see the Franks. Yeah, this is definitely a good hit box. Frank Thomases are pretty decently centered, not enough to say that they're worth sending in. Little off center. Again, Jose Rijo, Edgar Martinez. So that finishes off the second quarter. So half the box down, we do have 2 Franks. I would be very thrilled to get 1 Frank out of each corner of the box here. Definitely hoping to get at least 1 more, but 2 or 3 would be amazing. Some new cards here. Scott Radinsky, Rich Gedman, Mark Eichhorn, Glenn Bragg, one of my favorite names of the 90s, Dana Kicker, Sean Bosky, Chris Hoyles, Dwayne Ward, Glenn Bragg, another Dana Kicker. So that's one of the other things with Leaf, is sometimes you do get those packs that have multiple cards of the same collation. Love to find one of those with Frank. That just really cool to pull 2 Franks in 1 pack. That I don't know if they made packs like that, but it would be cool either way. Dwayne Ward, Brad Arnsberg. There's a Randy Johnson, another pretty nice card there. Jim Leyritz. Did have this card signed by him at one point. Don't know if I still have it or not. Teddy Higuera, Mark Carrion, and Jack Morris. And moving on through the box. Jerry Goff. Keith Hernandez, always weird seeing him in an Indians uniform. Jose Offerman, which would have been an amazing pull back in the day as well. Greg Hibbard, Xavier Hernandez, John Orton, Jeff Reed, Greg Harris, Paul Osemacher, Brian Holton, Steve Avery, Todd Stottlemyre, Gary Pettis, Mike Lacoste, and Keith Comstock. Still amazed at how easily these packs are opening. I've always ripped these packs to shreds opening them. And the Ozman, Ozzie Canseco. Gerald Clark, Eric Plunk, Tom Pagnozzi, John Candelaria, Stan Belinda, Mike Felder, Mark Davis, Terry Mulholland, The Dreaded Checklist, Keith Miller, Lance McCullers, The Big Cat, Andres Galarraga, and Carlos Baerga, another big hit from 1990 if we were still there. Starting to see some new cards. That's a nice touch there. Barry Jones, Franklin Stubbs, Dick Schofield, Scott Scudder, Wes Gardner, We'll never say this name without thinking of Harry Carey. Hector Villanueva. Mark Williamson, Jeff Treadway, Willie Blair, Jeff Russell, Rick Leach, Eric Hansen, Kurt Young, Mike Doon, Jeff Robinson. The Tukes Man, Bob Tewksbury, Roy Smith, Neil Heaton, Greg Brock, Carmelo Martinez, Gerald Perry, Mackie Sasser, Jeff Robinson, Drew Hall, Rudy Saenz, Chris Gwynn, Ron Kittle, Mark Portugal, Max Venable, and Luis Rivera. Starting to get to the point that if we don't get duplicates, we're not going to get good cards. Jim Presley, Billy Ripken, another Nolan Ryan, No Hit King, Greg Myers, Jack Doherty, Francisco Oliveras, Matt Young, Joe Klink, Mark Parent, Alan Mills, who I was really high on at one point, Jose De Leon, Brian Harper, Ted Power, Ron Robinson, and Daryl Ackerfelds. Jeff Montgomery, Daryl Boston, Dan Petrie, Nelson Santaveno, I should say, Sergio Valdez, Mike Sharperson, Scott Rudinsky, Rich Gedman, Mark Eichhorn, Glenn Bragg, Dana Kicker, Sean Bosky, Chris Hoyles, Joe Hesketh, and Dwayne Ward. Last pack of this quarter. Brad Arnsberg, Trevor Williams, Randy Johnson again, Gene Nelson, Dennis Rasmussen, Jim Leyritz, Lee Smith, Ken Oberkfeld, Chili Davis, Jose Rijo, Jeff Reardon, Marvell Wynn, Jose Offerman again, really bad cut for Leaf, Greg Hibbard, and Xavier Hernandez. Sadly, no Frank Thomases out of that quarter. As we go to our last stack here in the box, hoping to pull at least one more Frank out of here. I'd like to find one a little bit more centered if possible. Getting greedy. Charlie Huff. Another Dion. Bernard Gilkey, Wally Backman, Mike McFarland, Tim Tuffle, continue on. Bob Tewksbury again. Ron Kittle, Mark Portugal, Joe Oliver, Tom Berdansky, Charlie Liebrant, Junior Felix, Tim Layana, Scott Bradley, Todd Burns, and Greg Harris. Start off this one with the dreaded checklist. Dave Magadan. And we got another one. I was getting a little worried this card was kind of bent, but Frank Thomas is looking nice. This is actually a pretty good centered card. Don't know if it would be PSA 10 quality, but it is definitely a nice card. So 3 Thomases in one box. I will not complain about this at all. And like I said, this one is pretty well centered. Possibly could send that one in for grading at some point. And even though we know there's nothing else in here, we'll scroll through. A really nice pack. And down to the final 5 packs here. Still a chance that we might get a 4th Thomas. Edgar Martinez. Same card, slightly different collation with the start of the card. Randy Johnson. And Jose Offerman. 3 more packs to go. Greg Hibbard, Jeff Reed, Greg Harris, Paul Osemacher, Steve Avery once again, Todd Stottlemyre, Ozman once again, and Eric Plunk. Two packs remaining in our Frank Thomas chase. Start off with Edgar Diaz. Norm Charlton. And our final pack of the night here. Last hope for a 4th Thomas. It doesn't look like it. We'll start with Ron Gant. And John Franco to end out the box. So, again, we'll never complain about multiple Frank Thomases. Again, this one is pretty well centered. This one's a little off left to right. That one's just slightly off left to right. So, it's even the top one still. It's a little off. Probably not a PSA 10. Could possibly be a 9. More than likely an 8. So may or may not send it in, but again, not going to complain. This would have been an amazing box back in 1990 with some of the other cards. The Justice, a couple Deons, Larry Walker, Edgar Martinez. So really neat boxes. I love opening these packs here. Appreciate you stopping in. I do have a lot more to open up in the near future. I'm not sure if I'm going to open up individual packs or if I'm just going to continue to do box breaks, but I do have quite a bit of material to open up and share with you soon. So if you do like what you see, please like and subscribe, comment any sets that you'd like to see me open, the Junk Wax era. I'll try to see what I can do. Hoping to have a lot more in the near future. But again, thank you for stopping in. Hope to see y'all again soon and have a great day.